bring in political commentator Chris Cillizza, host of So What with Chris Cillizza on YouTube. Good morning to you, Chris. Let me play a bit of sound in just a second, but first, how do you think this is all landing with voters right now? I mean, she hasn't made herself available for interviews really until this week. You know, today it's Howard Stern, Stephen Colbert, The View. How is it landing with people, you think?
Well, I think Alina makes the right point, which is these are very targeted media attempts. These are, with the exception sort of 60 Minutes, which is obviously a big broadcast show. These are more niche shows with big audiences, but with specific audiences, right? Both the Call Her Daddy podcast and The View are very popular among women. Howard Stern popular among men, right? So this is not an attempt to do like a touch everybody interview. All of them today, at least, Markie, are, I think, probably going to be pretty friendly. I don't view late night as sort of a hard-hitting interview. I think Howard Stern is, more on the Democratic side, and The View as well. The 60 Minutes interview, which I did watch and read through the transcript, was absolutely the most contentious and most the interview where she has been pressed the most since she became the Democratic nominee. Now, as you say, there's not a lot to choose from there. She's given about 3 total national media interviews, but this was one where Bill Whitaker repeatedly pressed her. She didn't answer a lot of questions, but he pressed her on it.
And I want you bring me to my next question and the bit of sound I do want to play. This was Harris last night when she was pressed over her plans to boost the economy.
But pardon me, Madam Vice President, the question was, how are you going to pay for it?
Well, one of the things is I'm going to make sure that the richest among us who can afford it pay their fair share in taxes. It is not right that teachers and nurses and firefighters are paying a higher tax rate than billionaires and the biggest corporations. And I plan on making that fair.
But we're dealing with the real world here.
But the real world includes...
How are you going to get this through Congress?
You know, when you talk quietly with a lot of folks in Congress, they know exactly what I'm talking about because their constituents know exactly what I'm talking about. Their constituents are those firefighters and teachers and nurses.
Chris, I know you watched. What you make of the exchanges like this one? Alina played the one about, when she was grilled on immigration. Her responses, and also for undecideds who watched last night, how do you think they walked away feeling?
Well, let's just talk about a response on that question. I mean, the reality of the situation that Bill Whitaker points out is it's very likely that if Kamala Harris wins the White House, at least one chamber of Congress, and I would guess the Senate, will be Republican controlled, which means that she will not be able to do whatever she wants on her economic plan. She will have to find ways to compromise. And the idea that quietly everyone agrees with her. No, that is not, in fact, the case. I thought she was fine. I still do not think this is a format that benefits her. I do not think she is terrific in terms of responding. She does not answer questions, which, by the way, Markie, is not unique to her. Lots of politicians don't answer the question that they're asked. But I don't think it's a great format for her. In terms of undecided voters, I get this question a lot, understandably, because it's what we're all focused on. Here's the problem. If you're undecided at this point, a month before the election, man, you probably have not been paying a ton of attention to the election.
You're not watching
so it's
60
so
Minutes.
hard for me to know what's the thing that makes you say, okay, this person and not that person.
Right. And quickly, I know I got to wrap, but I got to squeeze one more in. Trump, 60 Minutes coming out saying Trump is not doing, he turned it down. They've been doing this with the candidates for more than 50 years in the October before the election. Smart move by him or no?
No, I don't think so. But his strategy is just whatever he thinks. I mean, you have to always remember, yes, I know he has a team around him. They're actually much better people than they have been in past campaigns, which is a low bar, but still. But ultimately, he makes all the calls on this stuff. If he wants to do it, he does it. If he doesn't want to do it, he doesn't do it. It's as simple as that. So this idea that there's this grand blueprint, grand strategy that Trump is operating against is just not the case. I think he should do it. But look, it would be very contentious because Trump talks to the media more than Kamala Harris, but it's mostly friendly media, Markie, and no one corrects him on a lot of the things he says that are just patently untrue.
And we remember how his sit-down with Lesley Stahl went in 2020 for 60 Minutes. Chris Cillizza, thank you so much, as always. Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.